I think they say the most important thing of like YouTube and all that stuff is like this time, right? The first minute is so important. We gotta capture your attention. We gotta grab you and see why are you gonna watch this video? Why are you gonna sit here and listen to what the hell am I talking? What the hell is Money Pop Podcast on A2D Radio? What is this whole thing popping? I get it, man. Sometimes we want to listen and sometimes we don't. But I'm gonna tell you what it's about. We talking NFC South, down in the dirty, dirty. We got bets to make. We got money to make. If you with that, stay with me. Listen in. Let's go. We don't. Welcome everybody back to another episode of Money Pop Podcast. I am the host. I am the CEO. I was the voice in the sky in the background. They call me Moss Money. And we are talking about probably the worst division in football in the AFC South, the dirty, dirty. I don't think this show is going to be too long, so just stick with me. We'll find some bets, we'll find some wins, and then we'll get you back on your Sunday morning. If you didn't go to church, this is church for you. And the poll question of the day, I believe we got it scrolling at the bottom, right? Do we have the poll? Now poll question of the day is the New Orleans Saints will win the NFC South division, uh, not conference. Agree or disagree? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Question is brought to you by Fan Up. Still popping off of them LLB, DFS, A2D radio points. $50 free. Sign up. iOS, Apple. Had to get it together, get it going. Didn't know what I wanted to say up here, but talk to me, y'all. This is a bad division. Let's not beat around the bush. It is a shitty division. Let's just be honest. Do you think the New Orleans Saints are going to win the NFC South? I'd say they will. Let's bring up the odds and let's get right to it, man. Let's get right to it, man. I'd say they will. Everybody's a plus. I think this division is really wide open when you look at it. New Orleans Saints are plus 130, followed by the Falcons. That have a lot of fans like the Falcons. Fans are betting on the Falcons at plus 2 to 1 and at plus 210. Then you got the Panthers and Bucks. Panthers at plus 360, and then the Bucks are plus 750. So when we look at this division, obviously they play each other. 8 and 9 won the division last year. Tampa won the division 2 times in a row. Obviously, Tom Brady was around, and then before that, Saints ruled for a while, about 4 or 5, division winners right in a row. And then I think the Panthers was in there, Atlanta was in there. So this division used to be really, really good, right? Because you're talking about Breeze was here, Matt Ryan was here. There's some Cam Newton was in here. Trying to think who was before Brady in Tampa. Anybody know? I forget who was before Brady. But given all, we always look at what we do every time we start betting and talking division is the quarterback and the head coach matchup. So with the quarterback and the head coach matchup, we have Derek Carr here, Ritter, first pick Bryce Young, and then Journeyman is looking like he's becoming Baker Mayfield, where Baker's kind of getting to the end of his career, in my opinion. And it's hard for me to read this division. I'm going to agree to the poll question here. I think New Orleans has the best roster. I think this offense could be deadly if Mike Thomas comes back to being what Mike Thomas was maybe 3 years ago. They got Chris Olave. Jimmy Graham came out of, the woodworks out of nowhere. They still got Tyson Hill. Kamara is on the shelf for a couple games. But they're still going to be down in New Orleans where it's hard and it's loud to play. They're passionate about football in New Orleans. So I think that we could find a bet here for plus 130. I just can't make this a best bet just because this division's so weak. And I think it's still really open. Atlanta, I mean, I trust New Orleans the best because of Carr. All the other quarterbacks are kind of not proven. I mean, Baker's somewhat proven, but Baker hasn't been Baker since college, to be honest with you. I mean, he had his one shot in Cleveland, but that was it. Like, he hasn't shown up to what they thought or drafted he was going to be. So, kind of hard to pick here, but I don't think I'm gonna find a bet for the division winner here. I just don't. I just don't think I can because it's such a bad division, such a bad division. But let me see if we can get a bet for win totals. So Atlanta's at the top more than likely. Wow, 8.5. I gotta see this. Hold on. Let me bring up the schedule for the Atlanta Falcons real quick. Wow, 8.5 though. That under looks mighty good. Looks mighty good. All right, let me bring up the schedule real quick. Whew, man. Let's see. Let's see what this looks like. Is it too? Well, let me zoom in for y'all a little bit. A little far away there. Uh, let's see. I look better. Yeah, that's better. That's better. No free advertisement. All right. We got Carolina. This is Atlanta schedule. So they're going 9-8 is what Vegas has them. Can we find? Trying to think what's easier here. Find 9 wins or 8 losses. I think they beat Carolina just because it's going to be Young's first game. Green Bay. Can they beat Green Bay at home? I think they lose that game. They lose to Detroit. They lose to Jacksonville. So we're looking at 1-3. So we'll start with the losses. There's 3 losses right there. They might lose to Houston. But I mean, they got in their first 6 games, they have 6 home games. So that means the back end stretch should be a lot of away games, which is probably not going to be good for them. Hmm. So we said Green Bay lost, Detroit lost, Jacksonville lost. Houston's a toss up, man. Count how good they're playing. Let's just say they beat Houston, lose to Washington, so that's 4 losses. They beat Tampa and Tampa. Lost to Tennessee, that's 5. Lost to Minnesota, that's 6. They beat Arizona. Lost to New Orleans, that's 7. Lost to the Jets, that's 8. Lost to Tampa, that's 9. They split. Probably beat Carolina again. The Colts. Yeah, I see almost 13 losses here. Right? 9? They got about 9 wins? What were their record last year? 7-10, I think, with Mariota. So I guess upgrading from, if it got to be an upgrade, right, from Mariota to Ritter, and they get 9. Oh man, and they got Bijan, they got Drake. Who else is on this team? Drake London, Kyle Pitts is still questionable, so you don't know. Calais Campbell went there. Grady Jarrett got a decent defense. Bud Dupree, Jesse Bates, Okuna. Wow, so they got some players. Their roster is better than I thought it was. Huh? Do they sniff 8, 9 wins? Oh man, I don't know, man. That's tough. I see why people like Atlanta. Their roster's underrated. Can Desmond Ritter make some noise? Still got Cordell Patterson, JJ or Wildside is there. Wow. I didn't know he went there. Jake Matthews still on the left hand side. Man, I know they picked up. I think they picked up a. I'm pretty sure they picked up a lineman in the second round, if I'm not mistaken. This offense is not explosive though, and I think Pitts is still out. Right? Isn't Pitts still out? Yeah, he's still out with a knee issue, so he's not going to be ready. Yeah, they're still a year out, but giving them a winning record this year at 9-8, I think that's a little far fetched. I would lean under here on the 9 wins. I think they're an 8-7 win team, but I can't find a bet to support the bet though. I do like the under, but man, I was I'm trying to think here. Like, wow, like what do we have here? Hmm. See these future bets, these win total bets. I'm trying to think of my bet small, win big, betters. Like this is the bet. The under would be the right bet to go. It's a winner in my opinion. I don't think they win 9 games next year. Well, this year coming up, but I mean, for those who bankroll are not sufficient enough, a win is a win. But are you going to wait 50? Are you going to wait the full year to get $50? Now, maybe it comes at a good time. You're short on money, good pocket money or something like that. But a bet like this, even money like this, I mean, we got to talk about 4 to 5 units, right? Like we have to. Like I don't see how else we would bet this. You got to go heavy on this bet, and I just don't know if that's a good move to go heavy on this bet if you don't have the bankroll to support it. Let me see the alt win totals on them. Oh, this should be at the top, right? Atlanta Falcons. Under 7.5 wins. They go lose 10 games. Our roster's pretty good to lose 10 games. That's a lot of games to lose. Because they could start. They could beat if they beat Carolina and Green Bay, right? If they're out the gate and they go 2-2 and 4 games 12, that means they would have to lose 8 out of the last 12. I'm not sure they lose 8 games. I see Tennessee. I see Minnesota. If they're good, they might be able to beat Washington at home. We don't know what Washington is. The Jets, Chicago, New Orleans. They could split New Orleans, a division game. So, yeah, that's a no bet. I can't bet this. I think the line is right. It should be at probably 8.5. I didn't know the roster was that good. The roster's actually better than I thought it was. So, all right. Don't want to spend too much time on the Atlanta Falcons. I'm trying to find value. I'm trying to find a good bet, right? I'm trying to find a good bet. All right, let's look at the Panthers. Over 7.5 wins. Obviously, new regime with Bryce Young. Yo, it was crazy. I saw Bryce Young walk out with the rest of the quarterbacks, and he just looks like a little boy next to grown men playing football. This dude is small. Now I get he's surgical in terms of how his delivery in the ball, and there was other small quarterbacks in the league, but man, he is tiny, bro. Like he is small. And I didn't watch the preseason game. And in the beginning, I want to say that, he probably took a couple hits, I would think. I don't know if anybody watched the Carolina Panthers preseason game, but man, he is small. What here it is. He went 4 for 6, 21 yards. He was sacked one time. So just looking at the numbers that they put up against the Jets, but the Jets got a good defense, so I don't think that I think the under is the bet here, under 7 wins, under 8 wins actually. But let's see if we can find something else that might be a little bit more enticing. Maybe under 6.5 wins. They were a 7-win team last year. Under 5 wins. Let's see. That that 5.5 looks pretty good at plus 270. I mean they're going to be playing the same teams kind of as Atlanta, you know, and it's just Young is there, right? They got Miles Sanders. Don't they have? I don't think they have a lot. You know, they got Thielen there. You know, DJ Shark is there. Hayden Hurst is there. The defense is actually somewhat decent, right? J.C. Horn, the Brian Burns of the world. I think Derek Brown was a rookie. I think a rookie. Shaq Thompson's there. So their defense is going to keep them in games. It's just as this offense of line stand up. I don't trust Hayden Hurst. He always gets hurt. So it's really going to be the Miles Sanders show, to be honest with you. And if he can stay healthy, then he should give them, you know, kind of a good look. And then they have Andy Dalton, the journeyman, backing them up. So if Young gets in, you know, Dalton comes in, but they ain't no upgrade. So I think this team is going to regress. Let's look at the schedule than they did last year. I mean, I just shared the same thing. Stupid. Carolina Panthers schedule. What was it? 5.5. So we got to find 11 losses. No. Let's do it this way. 6 wins, because that's easier. Can we find 6 wins on this schedule? Then we got Miami. Look at this. Look at the top 6. Atlanta be the best game that they can maybe win, and it's in Atlanta on the road. They lose this game. They go 0-6. They maybe can beat Houston and the Colts. This will be their best shot. So say they win both games. Hell, say they win one of these games here out of the 6. That's 1. I'll give them 3 here. Losing to Chicago, losing to Dallas, and then losing to Tennessee. Beat Tampa, that's 4. This is tough. This is a tough stretch. 4 games over the holidays in 5 games. It could come down to the 6. So we said 1 here, beat Houston, beat the Colts. That's 3 wins. Beat Tampa, 4 wins. Yeah. It's going to come down to the Tampa Bay game for them to win 6 games. I like the under here. I think this is going to be our first best bet. I think this is a 5-4-12 team. And who knows if Young can hang in there for 17 games. No idea if he can hang in there. I really like this bet. Now, this isn't the greatest bet for my bet small win big, folks, but if you got a little bit of money you can play with, put a little 2 units on there. I'm okay with that. $200 to win you 540. It's not a bad bet. Not a bad bet at all. You know, a little bit of 250 maybe. 2.5 units. Wow, they have them winning. What was the actual line? 6.5, right? Was it 7 games? No, it was 8 games. Carolina Panthers win 8 games? Dang. Where did they see 8 wins? We getting some good value here, man. Some real good value. That's crazy. 8 wins? I mean, the defense is decent, but that offense is it's all Miles. If Miles doesn't show up for the Panthers, and he gets stuck, and the quarterback has to win the game. I just don't think coming out as a rookie that small, Bryce Young is going to light the world on fire. It's going to take him some time. It's going to be some growing pains. He's got to get used to the speed and the size of how fast and how big these guys are moving. I don't think he has it because if he gets them to 8 or 9 wins, he's got to win Rookie of the Year. He's got to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's no way he doesn't. If he guides them to a winning record, 9-8. Yeah, give me the under. First best bet of the day. Under Carolina Panthers, under 5.5 wins. Alternate regular season win total. I like it. 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 All right. We're going on to the next one. First best bet of the day. I like it. If you guys are on Twitter, if you guys are on Facebook, if you guys are on YouTube, man, tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Make sure you share the show. I just almost forgot about me sharing the show. Ew. I come I come on Twitter and I see Dave Spadaro putting his tongue all down this young girl's fucking throat. What the fuck is wrong with him? Getting married. I guess good for Dave. God damn, dog. All right, my bad. Got sidetracked. Next team in this division. Let's see. The Saints. 9.5 wins. So we did Atlanta. We did Carolina. We got the Saints. Oh, and Tampa. All right. Over 9.5 wins. Now, I really like the Saints roster. I think the Saints have a really good roster. I think that Derek Carr is better than what people give him credit for, but then he's not as good as what people think he is. But I think that the Saints have a great offense, man. The Kamara, I said it earlier about when we talked about the division leaders and who should win this division. This is such a shitty division. But, Michael Thomas coming back, Chris Olave, that defense also as well with Lattimore. Who's the dude's name who they just re-signed? Jordan, I think his name. I forget his last name. What's his name? I gotta look it up real quick because now it's bothering me. What's his name? Cam Jordan. Yeah, Cam. They got Cam Jordan, DeMarco Davis there. They got some players. They do have some players. Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. Obviously, Kamara suspended. This might be the most talented offense that Derek Carr's ever had. If Michael Thomas becomes Michael Thomas again. And that's a big if because we don't know where his mindset was. Because at one point, Michael Thomas was obviously the best receiver in the game. But that was a long time ago. And people don't forget how long that was ago. That was in 2019. That was like 4 years ago. So it's been some time. He hasn't played 10 games over the last 2 or 3 years. So that how these players fall off from their prime is just insane. This is why it's so hard to be good in the NFL and to be sustainable in the NFL because you'll be riding high like you're the best thing in the league, but then an injury happens or something like that, and you go all downhill. Right situation is not there and stuff. I remember he played with Breeze all those 4 years. Now he's switching quarterbacks. He had Winston there. Dalton was there. And he got hurt, twice, in a row. So it's going to be real interesting to see how he vibes with Carr and if that offense can really and if he can recapture what he once was. But 10 wins is a lot. But I think 9-8 won the division last year. So it's not out of the question that 9-8 is going to win the division again this year, just how bad these teams are. But Derek Carr, great in the regular season, has been in mentions of MVP candidacy, or I guess he had candidacy before, but just never really gotten over the hump. One playoff game to his name, and it was a loss to the Bengals. So I'm not looking. There's not really high expectations for the Saints, but it's hard to play in New Orleans. Really hard to play in New Orleans. They have a semi tough schedule as well. Like they start out with Tennessee, and then they have at Carolina, at Green Bay, then home for Tampa, at New England, at Houston, home for Jacksonville, at the Colts. Like it's really spotty. They don't have a good homestand until the end of the year in December, in the month of December, where they go against Detroit, Carolina, the Giants, Los Angeles, and Tampa. That homestand, like their second half of their schedule, they could win out. They could beat Atlanta. They could beat Detroit probably at home. They could beat Carolina at home. They could probably beat the Giants at home. They could beat the Rams at the Rams. They could beat Tampa at Tampa. And they could beat Atlanta at home. So they have to weather the storm in the beginning to see if they can do something at the end. Because what is that? 7 games, and they could go easily 6-1 at the end here. Have a bad, like a mediocre record in the beginning, and then really take off and get some momentum. Maybe get into the playoffs and run some people down if they have to. I mean, they could easily be 3-2. They could probably beat Houston. Yeah, that makes sense. I like the over here. Where are they? 9.5, 10 wins. It's going to be close. 9-8. It's kind of what Carr does. I mean, they were 7-10 without what, and a below average quarterback, and they got better. They got some players back. They're gonna who's behind Kamara? Like who's their running back behind Kamara? Oh, Jamal Williams. Oh yeah, and they got Kendra Miller from TCU. They play today too. We'll see what he looks like. I like TCU Miller from TCU. He's a good player. So the over looks pretty good here. I would say I'm okay with this. Second best bet of the day. New Orleans Saints over 9.5 wins. I'll take a stab at them winning 10, going 10-7. I think it makes sense that they are 10-7. I think they win the division too. So obviously 10-7 looks good to me. So second best bet of the day. New Orleans Saints over 9.5 wins. We're not going to get funky with this one. We're just going to keep it what the number is as of right now. That second half of their schedule is really favorable for them. They could win out all those games at the end, and that's 6 of the 10 they need in the beginning. So they just need to go what? If they win all 6, what, 4-7 in their first 11 games, and I think they win 5 games out of their first 11. I think they can go 500. It's interesting that this is minus 140 for them not to. So line's kind of telling. Or they'll sit at 9-8. They have a bad stretch of 9-8. But give me the over. 9.5 wins. New Orleans Saints regular season wins. Second best bet of the day. All right, Tampa Bay. Don't have much on Tampa. 6.5 wins. I think they fall in the same boat as like Carolina. Only thing I would ever bet on Tampa is Mike Evans going over 1,000 yards. Now I want to look at this. Has Baker ever had 1,000-yard receiver? Like I feel like Baker Baker can fuck this all up. Does anybody know that? Has Baker had 1,000? Has he had 1,000 wide receiver? Let me see here. Let me bring up Baker Mayfield real quick, and then we'll get some little parlays to see if we can find a parlay, and then we'll get everybody out of here. Come on, man. Where was Baker before this? The Rams. He was with the Rams last year, right? Let's just see. You know what? Let me show you guys what I'm doing so you guys are just not looking at a dumb screen. All right, here we go. Only played 5 games. They didn't have no 1,000-yard receiver. All right, so that's enough. Let's see what Baker. Where was Baker before the Rams? Cleveland. Oh, Carolina. He only played 7 games at Carolina. Let's see, 2018. We start here. I feel like he's gonna fuck this up. I really do. Like, how insane would it be? I would be so mad. All right, 2018. Oh, Landry at 976. Ah, all right, let's go 20. I skipped. I skipped. 19. All right, there's Landry. Landry had 1,000 yards. Okay, we had two. Okay, we had 2,000 yards. Okay, all right. I'm okay with that, Baker. All right, so we should be good. We should be good. Man, I didn't even know Beckham had 1,000 yards, and then they made the postseason that one. Just one time, Baker's thrown with a 1,000-yard guy. One time. Oh no, twice. Here we go. Cooper. 17 games. Here we go. And Coop had 1,100 yards. Okay. All right. That's crazy though. In Baker's whole career, right? Oh no, Baker wasn't even here. What am I doing? My bad. He wasn't even there in 20. So one time. Oh, we're going against history here. So how many years Baker been in the league? 6 years. Baker's only had 1,000-yard receiver. Does he fuck this up for Mike Evans? I just want to bring my receiving prompts up quick. Oh, so bad going against history. Where's Mike Evans at? Woo! Oh, that's Andrews. Wow. 875 yards. So if you don't know, Mike Evans is on the cups of chasing Jerry's Rice most 1,000 yards in a season in a row. I think he has 9. I don't know if this would be the record or tying the record. I think Jerry's done it maybe 11 or 12 years in a row or something like that is the record. But Mike Evans right here, 875 and a half. Oh man, that is so bad. This is terrible. It is simply terrible. I couldn't bet that. I just can't bet that. That's bad. I would hope he gets over 1,000 yards. They would have to force feed him 1,000 yards. Like he's got to break history there. I wonder what his touchdown. He always gets a lot of touchdowns though. 5.5 is low. That is real low. I would go over this. This is going to be my third best bet. Mike Evans over 5.5. That's almost like disrespect, right? Like I don't think he's ever not had 5. He's a touchdown machine. Let me stats. Let me just look at Mike Evans touchdowns over the year. He had 6 last year. Let me see his stats. It was last year his worst year. Oh, he had 3. Okay. Uh, so he's had this 5 years in a row. 2017 he had 5, and 2015 he had 3. So in a 9-year career, he's only missed this twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who was his quarterback in 2017? Like, is there a reason why this is so low? Like, is Baker that bad? I guess coming off Winston. Okay, Winston throws a rock though. Hmm, that's crazy. He had 1,001 yards that year. Wow. I'm gonna have to take this shit off. I think he gets it. It's hard for me not to. Like, I think he could get 2 in a game, like 2 or 3 in a game. Like I see Baker force feeding him the ball a lot, but I also see him getting double covered and then making them go somewhere else. So I'm gonna leave that off for now. There's a lot of receivers in this division that are up here. I thought I saw Drake London like 4.5. Man, these are low. Is anybody else here? Chris Overlays up here, 5.5. Michael Thomas up here? Is Michael Evans? No, he's not up here. You might have to go to another book to find him. All right. Let's go to can we find over 750 yards parlay? So we only got one bet here. Oh, 2 bets. Sorry. Over New Orleans, 9.5 wins, and then under 5.5 in Carolina. Let's see if we can find a division parlay bet. Bet small, win big, folks. 750 yards over. See Chris Overlay up there. Mike Evans is up there. Drake London's up there. Chris Godwin's up there. Is that it? Yeah. All. I mean, if anyone, I guess I would have to go. I think I like Drake and Ritter connection. I think I like Drake here at over 750 yards. How can you not go Mike Evans? What is this? Yeah, it's not worth it. Yeah, I don't think it's any of these are worth it. Where's Chris Olave? Yeah, he's even worse. Yeah, none of them are worth it. So we can't find a bet for this. Man, this division is terrible. Can we find a bet for Bijan for Rookie of the Year? So a running back hasn't won his award since Saquon did it, I think 5 years ago. And I think before him was Kamara. But it's just been receivers and quarterbacks the last 4 years. Does Bijan does enough? Because see that rookie year that his rookie year, what Barkley did, I think he almost had 2,000 yards all purpose. And Bijan does that. Now, and I believe he can do that. But if Bijan does that, that means Atlanta is going to win the division. I would think. Right? I would think they would win the division in that case. What did Kamara do his rookie year for him to win it? He must have had like 15 total touchdowns. Just want to bring up his numbers. He had 13 total touchdowns, 1,500 yards from scrimmage, well over 1,500 yards from scrimmage. And I'm sorry, 13 total touchdowns. So that makes sense, right? Can Bijan can do that? I think more of a Kamara, maybe even more in the rushing yards a little bit. But 81 receptions. He had 81 receptions. I don't know if Bijan gets 81 receptions in his rookie year. That's a lot. Wow. He had 80. He's had 80 something receptions in the first 4 years. Never rushed over 1,000 yards though. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I would rather go with CJ here, or maybe even Gibbs, maybe. Trying to think. Zay Flowers is probably a good throw at the dart. I think a quarterback wins, but I think CJ's the better. Just because he's a quarterback, he's always going to have the ball in his hands. Same with Bryce, but I just don't. I think Bryce is. When I saw him walk out there, he's just too small. Not mad at people following Bijan. A lot of people maybe had Bijan as being the best player in the draft this year. Should have went number one. So yeah, no bet here. No bet here. All right, so we just got our two bets: the under for Carolina, and then the over for New Orleans Saints. That's going to be our show for today for the NFC South. What a terrible division, man! I gotta wipe the wipe the dryness out of my eyes on this division. There's nothing exciting about this division. Want to thank everybody for joining. We'll get out of here early. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend, share the show, like the show, hit the notification. This is Money Pot Podcast. I'm Moss Money. I'm out of here.